Hi, everyone. I'm Liza Weale, founder of Gatehouse Admissions.
And I'm Jeremy Shinewald, founder of mbaMission.
And today, we're reviewing an application essay from an MBA applicant who is admitted to HBS. If you want to follow along, use the link below to download a free copy of our book of successful HBS application essays. Today, we're looking at Suzanne, and we're going to start with her business-minded essay. Let's dive in. What's your favorite animated movie? I like asking this question in interviews because it can tell me a lot about a candidate. My answer would be Ratatouille, specifically for the scene where Ego takes his first bite of ratatouille and is transported back to his childhood. Like great cooking, strong storytelling can be transportive. I want to bring great stories to life by using my analytical skills and strategic thinking to drive creative decision-making in media and entertainment. One challenge creative executives face is not knowing what types of stories audiences want. Netflix sees the greatest room for growth internationally, but cost-saving efforts reduced our international content budget, and we needed to develop a strategy to optimize our spend. I work with teams across APAC, EMEA, and LATAM to gather competitors' viewership data and benchmarked it against Netflix's to identify gaps in our content. In my analysis of engagement by content origin country, I found that LATAM audiences engage with content regardless of origin. Anime and K-drama, in particular, drove significant engagement. This differed from leadership's belief that LATAM audiences favored local telenovelas. I presented my findings to Netflix's content president, which empowered the international content team to reevaluate our localization strategy. We're now localizing more APAC content for LATAM and already seeing engagement improvements. While such data is helpful in identifying current content consumption trends, I believe there are also stories that people didn't even know they wanted. It's empowering to see my experiences as an Asian American immigrant represented in recent films like Past Lives and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I aspire to be an executive who takes creative risks to champion diverse voices because, as Ego says, a great artist can come from anywhere. All right, Jeremy, you start. What do you think?
What an end. We've talked before about how we don't like quotes or tend to feel like they should only be used really sparingly. But I mean, that's got to put a smile on your face. I don't even recall who Ego is. I do recall seeing Ratatouille at a certain point, but that ending is fantastic. It's a great essay, and the reason is it basically just proves itself out, right? I always love simple, but we have an individual who clearly loves media and genuinely loves it like a heartfelt way, who starts something with Ratatouille unless you can really love it, and then says that she wants to use data to prove out a thesis, and then shows us that she has had massive success doing just that. Like, it wasn't just that, I had some insights. She was meeting with the content president at Netflix. That there are actual films that could be or a strategy shift that's occurred at a massive leading global media company because of her insights. This is just. It's such like a slam dunk win and fits so perfectly with this. And she tells it in such a straightforward way. It's a fantastic essay, but it's only because it was a fantastic effort and thoughtful effort for this person. This person lived this experience and just lets it tell itself, but it just happens to be really fabulous. But also is still told with a little bit of humor and engagement. There's again, no bragging. This is a masterclass. This is really just an absolutely fantastic essay.
I agree. I also love, how she starts. What is your favorite animated movie? So again, she starts with a quote, but the quote is used very intentionally. So as a tool to start revealing what movie really inspired her. She's subtle with it too, because if you notice in the essay, she mentions that she uses this question in interviews. I mean, how many people who are applying to business school are regularly interviewing people for roles? So it's just a subtle way. You spoke about how she is moving the ship at Netflix, and kudos to her for using her analytical insights. But we also it's a very subtle reference, like she's making some decisions or giving input to who's being hired at the company. And not everybody who's heading to business school has that experience at this point in their lives.
Right, and this is big experience, and it's really impressive. And it's not that we don't believe her because the details are there, but we also know that this is going to be corroborated by her recommenders and that they're going to talk about her in these terms. And so it's really going to get driven home that she's an impact player at a global institution. So like we're talking about these essays in a vacuum often without context from resumes and recommendations. And of course, the whole thing is a portfolio. And in this case, as long as her recommenders are helping to even further elucidate the story and talk about some of the ways that she has driven this change. I mean, this is just it's such a home run.
Yeah.
There's so much to like here about her experience and the ability to drive change, the ability to think about things differently, and also kind of like a subtle like left brain, right brain. Like I love the creative side and I love the stories, but there's also another story going on. There's that analytical story. And that left brain, right brain story might be proven out by her GMAT or something or GRE, but it's discussed in a thoughtful way in this essay. So I love this essay.
And it's not only left brain, right brain, it's also personal and professional, right? We have the professional experience, and I always love it when it's done well, I should say, when applicants bury a success story in the business-minded essay. It shows them, it shows the schools that they have relevant skills to bring to their future goals. But she also mentions being an Asian immigrant, and finding connection with her goals, given her own identity. So she's just done a really nice job with both the ratatouille mentions of her own identity, to really round out the professional experience that she captures so well in this essay as well. I agree. It's a great, captivating essay. And I can't help but wonder how she tied it all together when she was writing it to both come up with the opening and the ending and tie it all together. But it's really brilliantly and brilliantly done in a meaningful way. All right, well, let's see what Suzanne's going to tell us next. So stay tuned for our next video where we'll look at Suzanne's leadership-focused essay. And be sure to download our book, linked below, for more examples of real essays from real HBS admits.